Have you noticed anything different? What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm LotusAsakura, the one who never knows best, and in today's video I want to talk to you about a little change that a lot of players, myself included, feel like we've noticed lately in Tekken 8's ranked matchmaking, and whether or not it's a good or bad thing. I'm just going to kind of get my thoughts and opinions on it, and you guys feel free, and in fact I encourage you to let me know how you feel about this in the comments down below and if you feel like you've been experiencing this. So if you haven't heard or if you haven't felt it for yourself, what am I talking about? Just yesterday I saw this tweet from prioritze, who I'm sure you guys are all more than familiar with at this point. But the tweet reads, "Notice something weird in Tekken 8 ranked. Matchmaking seems to only be with equal or similar prowess when I'm on a side character. Queue times have gotten really long, and Tekken Prowess is not the clearest calculation of skill. Anyone else seen this?" To which I myself replied, "I definitely feel like the queue time suddenly got a lot longer, but now that you mention it, I feel like the average Tekken Prowess of my opponents has been higher lately too." He also replied that there's some weird situations people are saying on Reddit, like 32 characters Gauryu matches up with the Fujin. I don't know how accurate this is. I kind of want to make a new account to test, but that's a lot of work. And basically, I haven't been playing a lot of like ranked on Hwarang lately. I've played ranked with some other characters here or there because, like I said, I'm exploring and trying to learn and grind the game in more ways than just, you know, perfecting my main character. And this is definitely something I've noticed. I felt like even in just a quick match as well, I feel like the queue times have gotten longer. I don't know if it's specifically to ranked or if it's just placebo or it's just in my head when I'm in queue for quick match, but regardless, there definitely does feel like there's been an increase in the amount of time it takes to find a match. And I didn't think much of it because sometimes, you know, I'll be playing the game like super late at night, like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes. Like if y'all follow me on stream at all, you know that it's very normal for me to be up 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning streaming, whether that's playing 2K with the boys or playing Tekken or whatever the case may be, right? So I didn't really think too much of it because like that's a lot of time when I be playing. But then, you know, when he said the Tekken Prowess thing, I was like, you know what? Now that you mention it, I feel like the players that I have been fighting have been of a higher level, or at least of a higher prowess than what it normally is. Because, you know, it usually varies a lot, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you're on a side character, you might be, let's just say I'm Bushin rank, right? And I have like 205 Tekken Prowess right now. I might be on one of my side characters or like a new character, which would be Tenryu for me. So let's say if I pick up like Jin or Kazuya, then I'm going to be fighting people who are like 140, 50,000 Tekken Prowess or somewhere around there, right? Somewhere in the purples or you know, high reds or something like that. And it doesn't really feel like that's necessarily the case anymore. To take it a step even further, there's also a Reddit post that came out that I believe prioritze was referencing in the first place that I also saw going around on Twitter, in which I'll pull up in just a moment. Also, like quick little like random tangent aside, I had somebody leave me a comment saying that when I do moments like this or whatever, and like I'm jumping around between my monitors and my scenes or whatever, they like when I don't make a cut and actually just like leave it in. And somebody even agreed with them. I don't know how many of you guys feel that way, if you just prefer the jump cuts or if you don't care one way or the other, but just as a side piece, I'd be curious to know how many of you feel that way. Anyway, regardless, jumping into this, I might zoom in just a little bit more just so that you guys can read it very clearly, maybe out just a tiny bit. A rank was silently changed to match based on Tekken Prowess. This is not a good change. There clearly was a hidden rank change where you get matched based on Tekken Prowess. The problem is that Tekken Prowess calculation is nonsense. It creates a situation where for some players, their matches don't actually represent the rank they're in anymore, which I definitely agree with, and we're about to talk a little bit more about why here in a moment. Online changed completely overnight. I went from regularly getting pretty balanced matches against other blues to getting every match be against someone whose main is in Tekken God or higher. My highest is Kishin. And again, this is something that I've experienced as well. Where when I'm playing the game, I have noticed now more often than not, the players I'm fighting are players who are like Tekken Emperor, Tekken God, maybe even God of Destruction, and they're playing a side character. And like that's something that you always encounter, right? And obviously, as you continue to go up through the ranks, you're gonna have to deal with that, where you're fighting players who are higher ranked on their side character. But it's definitely been happening a lot more often in my experience, and that may not necessarily be a good thing. And here's why. This is because my Tekken Prowess is high. I was in a character crisis and ranked up multiple characters trying to find a main. Doing this skyrockets your prowess, and now usually matches me against people ranked significantly higher than I ever have been. Queue times are also extremely long now, no matter what rank I play in. That's because instead of trying to match me against other people in my rank, matchmaking specifically tries to match me into people in that rank with approximately 250,000 prowess, which is a tiny subset of players. So with that, I'm going to assume that this player himself is around 250,000 prowess, which would make you think that his highest rank is like Tekken God or somewhere around there, when in reality he's Kishin. And I know Kishin to Tekken God doesn't sound like a huge jump because it's only about 3 ranks, but from personal experience, again, as a Bushin rank player, which is 1 rank above Kishin, I would say that the difference that I've noticed in skill between players who are Kishin and a player who's like Tekken God is pretty noticeable. Like there's a pretty big gap there in skill level and ability within the game. This all means if you rank other characters, you are heavily punished. The system will erroneously prioritize people who are likely significantly better than you, and you get much longer queues. Getting Tekken God is obviously much harder than getting to blue 5 times. Matching based on prowess is awful because it can't make this distinction. Also, this is something I kind of want to take note of that I think is a big issue here. So we're going to continue to read this, but I want to take a stop and pause because I have some thoughts I want to elaborate on, or I want to speak and elaborate on this sentiment. I think I only have 2 characters in blue, but I have multiple characters above Mighty Ruler. So I have Huarong is in Bushin right now. Actually, no, I think it's 3, right? I think I have Huarong at Bushin, Eddie at Fujin, Azucena at Fujin, Reina at Mighty Ruler, and is that it? Or am I missing one more character? I might be, Victor. I have Victor at Mighty Ruler, Flame Ruler, somewhere around there. So I have like 5 characters at least who are a purple rank or higher, which boost your Tekken prowess. Now, in my opinion, like this player said, it is significantly easier to get multiple characters to like purple ranks or blue ranks than it is to get a singular character up to Tekken God. You might not agree with that. I personally feel that is the case because I don't think I'm capable of getting the Tekken God right now, but I think with, you know, a few days to a week with any character, I could get them to purple rank, and you know, if I really try, I could probably push it to Fujin. You know, and I think I'm good enough at the game and good enough at fighting games to be able to do that with multiple characters. And so that boosts my Tekken prowess. And likewise, I have a homie by the name of June, who you guys might remember from DBFZ. He has a Tekken prowess that's very similar to mine, where he actually, I think his is a little bit higher. He might have, I think last time I saw it was like 206, 207,000 prowess, because he's somebody else who's also kind of in character crisis and has been playing multiple characters. So he has like a blue rank Law, he has like a blue rank Azucena, he has a blue rank Steve, he has a purple rank Paul, I think. He's been working on Brian. So it's like playing all these different characters, like boosting his prowess. But right now, as it stands in Tekken, I'm definitely a better Tekken player than he is, but he has a higher prowess, which means that he's going to be facing tougher opponents than even I might, because his prowess is trying to get matched up against with other players who are not only more skilled than him, but more skilled than myself. And obviously it's kind of like imbalanced, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that Tekken prowess is a really good way of designing the matchmaking, because it can be skewed so easily. And like I said, like getting the Tekken God is a lot harder than getting 4 or 5 characters up to Fujin, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, going back to the post, my matches are frustratingly unbalanced and queue times are atrocious. Average night, I wait 5 minutes just to match into the same player with a main in Tekken God Supreme, who I fought 2 other times that night. Obviously, I lose and I go back and wait approximately 5 minutes again. And again, this is something that I've experienced as well, where not only are the queue times longer, but I'm noticing an increasing amount of times I'll run into the same player. Just last night, I want to say there were 2 players who I ran into back to back, and a third player who I fought twice in the same night, but it was in between a few other games. And you know, running into the same player isn't like super uncommon, but there's so many people playing the game that it really wasn't like super common either, you know what I'm saying? Like it's definitely not like it never happens, but it's happening a lot more all of a sudden. So like this could all be some tinfoil hat theory, this could just all be like all in our heads, but I don't know, man. It's several of us all notice this and feel this way. I think there might actually be some truth to this, and there was like a stealth thing that they fixed, or like fixed, quote unquote, without really telling anyone. Anyway, TLDR, matching based on prowess is horrible for matchmaking. Playing multiple characters overinflates your Tekken prowess, then your matches don't actually represent your rank anymore. Every match will be against people ranked significantly higher than you playing on their secondary. You also get punished with much longer queue times at all ranks, because it always tries to match based on rank plus your overinflated Tekken prowess. Played again today. I'm worried this update might have ruined the game for me. I tried playing Lily, a character I had in purple, because I suck with her. Insanely long queue times. All my matches are extremely difficult, usually a Fujin with a main and Tekken King to God. Sometimes I got Destruction, 3-0s and perfects, almost no even games, not fun anymore. And it's one thing when you're trying to make ranks more difficult, because I've obviously been somebody who's gone on record to say that, you know, the ranks are kind of inflated and like ranking up to Fujin's a little bit easier than it probably should be, etc., etc. But I don't think this is the right way to go about things, and I'm not here to say that I have a solution to it or how things necessarily should be. But Tekken Prowess very clearly isn't the answer. Like this player said, when you're going up against a God of Destruction or Tekken God or Tekken God Supreme who's on their secondary or tertiary or even like their 4th or 5th character, odds are they're probably just going to be a lot better at Tekken than you are if you're somebody who's genuinely like a Fujin, Raijin, Kishin ranked player. Like I said, my homie June, his highest ranked character, I think the highest rank he's been to is Raijin, and he has a higher Tekken prowess than me. And he's not better than me. And again, that's no shade, but I'm just saying, like we play all the time, and usually I win most of our games. So he has an inflated Tekken prowess, even though he's a good fighting game player, and I'm sure he's eventually going to be a lot better than me at this game. It doesn't make sense that he's going to get tougher opponents than I am when I'm higher ranked, and like, you know, currently more experienced and skilled at the game. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and that just goes for everybody. Also, obviously, slower and longer queue times, that sucks for everybody as well. Nobody wants to sit there matchmaking for forever in a day. It is cool. It's dope that we can sit in training mode while we do so, and obviously, you know, I'm somebody who will practice certain things while I'm waiting in training mode. But as popular as the game is, and as for as many people there are online playing it, there's no reason that you should be in queue for honestly 5 minutes or more. You know what I'm saying? It should only take a minute or two at most for you to find a match, because there's so many people on this game right now, thousands upon thousands of people playing the game every single day. I don't have like a ton of hard data and numbers and research specifically in this in order to like test it and like theorize and everything like that. But what I will say is that I've seen an account where there's only one character that gets played, right, and it gets up to Kishin rank, and that was about 180, almost 190,000 Tekken Prowess, right? So somewhere around there. And then like my own account, like I said, where I'm Bushin rank is over 200,000, and typically you don't gain 20,000 plus or like 15,000 plus for going up one rank, unless it's usually like a jump to a new color, then it might jump up quite a bit. But yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to do the matchmaking this way. And I don't necessarily think that the way it was before this is perfect, but I think that the way they had it before was better than what it currently is. I mean, I feel like at every level to some degree, people kind of dread getting matched up against somebody who's playing on their secondary character when they're a higher rank, because typically they are going to be better than you at the game, especially in like the higher ranks. Like once you get to blue ranks and you're fighting somebody who's a higher rank on their secondary character and they're a blue rank player, yeah, it's a little bit rougher, at least in my opinion, than when you're in the like red ranks, for example, and you're fighting somebody who's like a blue rank and they're playing on a secondary character. Because at the blue ranks, that I feel like the average skill level of a player and like overall Tekken skill and knowledge is not comparable to somebody who's like obviously a Tekken God Supreme or God of Destruction or anything like that, and they're playing like a blue rank character. Plus, I think at God of Destruction, your characters start at Fujin rank. So let's just say you're Kishin, like this guy said, and you're fighting somebody else who's a Kishin or a Bushin, and they're on their secondary. That means that they at least were good enough to grind up to that rank to get to that point, as opposed to like, let's say I'm Bushin and my character start at Tenryu right now. You know, like I'm still going to be able to hold my own or whatever, but it's really different than like if you're a Raijin or a Fujin and you're playing a secondary character and you're Garyu rank, and like you're just starting there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm being redundant. I guess it obviously makes sense that yes, a higher ranked player is going to be better on a secondary character than like a lower ranked player on their secondary character, like duh. But I don't know, maybe I explained something that needed to be explained or didn't need to be explained. The point I was trying to make is that I think it's even rougher for a player like this who's like his highest rank is Kishin than it is for somebody whose highest rank is Garyu. You might disagree with that as well, and obviously I have my own perspective or bias or opinion as somebody who is like a high blue rank player, and I'm not somebody who's stuck in the red ranks right now. So, but I've played through it multiple times, obviously with multiple different characters, and I would just say that in my experience, it's rougher up here than it is down there. Regardless, though, the point remains. I think that this is kind of an issue, but let me know what you guys think. Have you experienced this for yourself? Do you feel like queue time suddenly got longer? Have you noticed that like you feel like you're getting matched up with people who are closer to your Tekken Prowess, and you're somebody who plays multiple characters? So that's not necessarily the best method of matchmaking, because especially because I've seen this actually happen a lot now that I think about it, where there are a lot of players, especially like in the red ranks and in the purple ranks, where people, they get a character to Garyu or they get a character to like Mighty Ruler, and then they move on to the next and try somebody else. Hell, that's even what I was doing when the game first started, right? Like at first, I think the first character I picked up on the official release of the game was Victor, because I'd already played Huo and Azucena and I liked them a lot, but I had other characters I wanted to try. So I got Victor to Mighty Ruler, then I went over to Azucena, I got her to Mighty Ruler, then I went over to Huarong, and then I got him to Mighty Ruler, and obviously I started to add more characters in the rotation. I decided I wanted to main Huo, but then I've added Eddie and I've added Reina to that mix as well. And again, I feel like I'm forgetting another character. But yeah, obviously that inflates my Tekken Prowess, which is cool, I guess. You know, it's nice to have a big number, make it look like I got a high power level, like I'm on Planet Namek or something. But in the grand scheme of things, it's going to get me matched up against players who, they might only play one character and they got that same prowess or higher, which is going to make them a lot better than me on my third character playing at Battle Ruler or whatever and fighting somebody else who's, you know what I'm saying, a Fujian, but they're actually a God of Destruction and they're playing on their secondary or third character or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I actually went back to FeedX's tweet to kind of take a look at the replies and see what people are saying. And one person says, Tekken Prowess is an accumulation of your character knowledge with the whole roster. I realized that once I brought a bunch of characters closer to my main character's rank, my prowess increased along with it. This makes sense that more knowledge equals more strength. And yeah, I think the way that they calculate Tekken Prowess isn't necessarily like bad. I just think it's bad to use that for matchmaking, because it kind of like throws things like like off, especially I think for me more, I don't know if it's necessarily the biggest thing. For me it's the biggest thing. You guys may or may not feel the same way, but the slow queue times, man. Waiting for a long time to find a match is just not fun. It's just going to turn people off from the game. And oh my god, I have the Philadelphia Sixers and the New York Knicks playoff game on my other monitor. Tyrese just had a crazy layup. I'm sorry for the distraction. But anywho, yeah, I think the long queue times is something that's going to turn off a lot of players and kind of, you know, lose some of them, you know what I'm saying? And obviously them getting matched with like way higher skill level players is also a thing as well, where it's going to discourage them from wanting to play if every single match they're going to get bodied, like that Redditor was talking about, right? Then we have this reply that says, where are all the rank doesn't matter and rank shows nothing motherfuckers at? Enjoying prowess system? I see 99%. And obviously this is a very sarcastic, like snarky, cynical reply. Again, the long queue times is obviously like one of the bigger issues here. Also, like, I get the point that they're trying to make, but I don't see how this proves their point at all. The fact of the matter is that most people always cared about their rank, and I feel like people like FadeX and myself who say like you shouldn't concern yourself so much, overwhelmingly so, with your rank to the detriment of your enjoyment of the game, are actually the minority. Beyond that, it was never actually a matter of like rank doesn't mean literally anything, because I've said multiple times and I've stressed this countless times. I feel like that there is a correlation. It's just kind of loose. Obviously, the better you get, you're going to have a higher Tekken Prowess and like you're going to be a higher rank in the game, but this also is proof that just because you have the same Tekken Prowess as somebody else or close to a Tekken Prowess does not mean that you're on the same level. You know what I'm saying? Like it goes both ways. Like, okay, like I said, my homie has higher Tekken Prowess than me. He's not better than me at the game. Yeah, he probably will be eventually, but you know what I'm saying? Like that rank is not the end all be all indicator of somebody's skill, and that's the only point. Yeah, and then we just have a lot of replies of people basically saying that they feel like they're experiencing the exact same thing, and people saying like, yeah, I have a few characters who I have in like the purple or blue ranks, and now I'm getting matched with people who are like a lot stronger than me, which, you know, again, like having to fight players who are stronger than you is just going to be par for the course. Like, that's to be expected. I just think that this is the wrong way to go about it. And I've seen a lot of people saying that like Tekken needs like a proper elo system or like placement matches and everything like that. And I do like the idea of that every time you're playing a new character, you have to go online and do some placement matches where it's actually going to put you up against other players and or at least a really good AI or a really good CPU, and see where you should be placed based on your based off your performance with that character. And that's something that can be done individually for every single character. The only problem I see with that is that, you know, obviously some people could just throw their matches intentionally to get placed a lot lower just so they can get more experience, like easy wins early on or something like that. And it's like, you know, I don't think there is a perfect answer or system to any of this, but I thought it was interesting and worth talking about because it is something that I've noticed and felt that it seemed like a lot of other players were the exact same way. This is kind of funny, actually, and something I didn't think about that's also worth considering and thinking about. As I'm literally sitting here editing this video, I have Twitter pulled up on my other monitor, and I'm zoomed in now for you guys' sake, but I see this tweet from Landon D that says, please revert the prowess matchmaking. I cannot find anyone at 431,000 prowess, which obviously Landon is a player who is pretty good at the game and probably also has multiple characters at very high ranks. And there's other players I've seen, like there's several Korean players. I know Glaciating here in America. I know Speed Kicks has a pretty high prowess, but I've seen players that have like 400,000 plus, but obviously those are very far and few between. Most God of Destruction players have under 400,000. So if you're somebody that does have a prowess of this caliber, probably going to have even slower queue times than you already would at God of Destruction, because there's not that many of those to go around even at this rank. So yeah, it's just a bad change. It's just a bad change all around, in my opinion. I just don't really agree with it. But that's enough rambling, I think. What do you guys think? How do you feel? Have you noticed this change? What do you think about it? How would you improve it? How would you fix it? Or if you think it needs to be fixed or improved at all? But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit this video with a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already so you can stay tuned for all the awesome content I plan on bringing you. With all that being said, that's pretty much off today. And remember, nothing can happen until you swing the bat. Later.